What's for lunch? Countless school children gazing at the mystery meat on their trays have asked that question with a fair amount of dread. Now comes a chef with a blue ribbon reputation, determined to change the menu for the better. Our cover story is from Nancy Giles.
It's lunchtime at Winthrop Elementary in New London, Connecticut, and these kids are hungry. They could eat pasta or tuna or something a little more exotic.
Have you ever had the hummus that we serve?
The man behind the hummus, a nutritious Middle Eastern dip, is 34-year-old Dan Giusti. He's the tall one.
Give the hummus a try and then
He founded and runs Brigaid, a company that's revolutionizing cafeteria cuisine.
There's a problem with school food in general because this idea that the kids don't deserve high quality, which obviously they do. If anybody, they're a captive audience and they're our kids. If anybody deserves the best food that we can give them, it's them because they have no choice.
No more processed food or mystery meat for these kids. Brigaid hires trained chefs to make high-quality school lunches from scratch. How Dan Giusti ended up in this cafeteria is quite a story.
The fact that I was the head chef in Noma is the reason that has opened up a lot of doors for me.
That's right. Dan Giusti's last job was at what many consider the best restaurant in the world, Noma in Copenhagen.
Talk to me about fine dining and about Noma. It's a small restaurant.
Sure.
45 seats, is that right?
45 seats, yeah.
What was like an average?
2 people, you were paying $1,000
for a meal.
After working at Noma for 3 years, Giusti decided he wanted to do something, well, bigger.
I knew I wanted to feed more people. That was the big thing. I wanted to make food with real purpose.
Right.
That really contributed to something.
So in 2015, he announced he was leaving Noma to fix America's school lunches, stunning the food world.
You're the head chef of Noma.
Yeah.
Why the would you ever leave that?
Yes.
Foodies may have been flummoxed, but Giusti had found his calling.
It's called school food. Like, that's weird. Like, it should just be food. Right. A lot of the food that is served in a school would never be served anywhere else.
Right.
And that's the unfortunate fact.
New London now benefits from a technique he picked up at Noma.
Who's gonna eat hummus here today? Anyone?
The power of the personal touch.
If you don't like it, then you just know you don't like it. But if you like it, now you have something new to eat for your whole life.
So it's Brigaid policy that their chefs talk to the students about the food.
If food comes to you and you don't really have a face to put to it, it's just food. When there's, okay, well, you know, Chef Wes made this. It's like, you like that person, therefore the food has more meaning to it.
What have you learned about the kind of food you're eating?
That it's actually fresh. It's not from a box and can. And it's made from scratch.
Isn't that nice?
Sometimes I want to go up for seconds.
Do they allow seconds?
No.
No. Do you like the food here?
I love it.
But kids can be picky eaters, and they don't always love it.
It's a whole different thing cooking for kids.
No, it is. And then, like, one time we had this butternut squash soup and it had coconut milk in it and ginger. It was delicious. It was really tasty. And I remember this kid, I went to this kid, he was eating it, and he just spits it out.
Oh, man.
And I was like, okay.
Lucky for New London, Manuel Rivera isn't picky, but he is choosy.
If we can't eat it, we shouldn't serve it to our kids.
Rivera was the school superintendent who hired Dan Giusti in 2016 to cook for New London's 3,500 school kids. Some folks thought he was wasting tax dollars.
We had one comment, I think it was, boy, the next thing you know, Rivera will be getting limousines for the students.
Compared to what you were spending with the prior food service companies,
I will tell you the cost is zero to New London public school taxpayers.
Almost sold out. $5 a meal.
Thanks to fundraising efforts like Brigaid's popular weekly community dinner and generous corporate and private grants, New London's taxpayers still haven't been hit. But cost and what the federal school lunch program will reimburse New London is an issue. It's around $3.50 a meal, which doesn't sound so bad, but
that's actually for maintenance, that's for paying people to make the food. So when it's all said and done, you have about $1.25 for food. Making food a meal that kids really want to eat for $1.25 is super challenging.
These are literally some of the best chefs in the country.
Last spring, Dan Giusti invited a dozen star chefs up to New London to compete in a fundraiser.
This is Mei Lin. Those of you familiar with the show Top Chef, she won it.
And see what kind of meal they could create for $1.25. They came from LA, San Francisco, Chicago, New York City, and Washington, D.C. James Beard winner Jeremiah Langhorne.
So, how much does a meal cost at your restaurant?
It depends on what you get, but I mean, easily, you know.
Well, Jeremiah, do you have anything at your restaurant that's $1.25?
No.
Chef Jeremy Fox was more optimistic.
What's the average price of a meal at your restaurant?
$75 to $80 per person.
Whoa. So how do you plan to
That's with wine.
Okay,
but
a
these
wine.
kids aren't going to drink nearly as much wine as the adults.
I'm making the seasoning right now.
Knowing that the winning meals could end up on the Brigaid menu, the chefs didn't let their budget limit their imagination. They whipped up chicken tacos, futamaki rolls, tofu lasagna, Monte Cristo sandwiches, 10 meals in all.
Okay, all right.
Then the chefs delivered the food.
The fish is added, it's been seasoned with herbs, lemon juice. Enjoy, guys.
A panel of New London students
I think this one would win for me.
and out-of-town adults were the judges.
It's a good taco.
I know.
Yes, I was a judge too, and had to eat a little, all right, a lot, of everything, and pick a winner.
You're just gonna have to give me one. Just gotta go it. You gotta do it.
That winner was Ghetto Gastro of the Bronx.
Ghetto Gastro.
Ghetto Gastro.
With a Caribbean fish sandwich, hardly what you'd expect kids to eat, willingly.
I think fish is one of those things that's kind of hard to approach to children. You know what I mean? Just the smell, but you know, I think we wanted to take a challenge, you know, and show them that, yo, this could be really delicious.
And their secret ingredient? The power of the personal touch.
Not to say that the other chefs aren't charismatic, but they put extra effort.
They sure did.
They put and they told me, they're smart. They're like, we're gonna sell this to the kids. I'm like, you knew who to talk to.
And now, Dan Giusti and Brigaid are expanding to the largest school district in the country, New York City's, starting here at Morris High School in the Bronx. Once more, Dan Giusti is thinking big.
There's 1,800 schools in New York City. But I mean, the goal is to get everywhere. To me, my dream is in 10 years that things are just different. That it is normal to do what we do.
This is good. Right here, the best.